Chinese government respond to the speech of the government. Here.
We agree with closing government, ladies and gentlemen, that language is a part of culture. Therefore, it's never static, ladies and gentlemen, and conservative as what opening government would like to portray it. Because language is part of culture, it's something that's very much fluid and adapted, ladies and gentlemen. That even the major languages existed in status quo, where number one wants a minor language in themselves, ladies and gentlemen, or in a totally different state, ladies and gentlemen, from their original template. Because these types of languages evolve in their own time, ladies and gentlemen, depending around their surroundings and in their own pace. That's why if you take a look at American English and Australian English, they're very much distinctively different Englishes because they've evolved differently according to the different cultures that are present in their surroundings. Ladies and gentlemen, it enables them to absorb and highlight the contribution of the minor cultures, ladies and gentlemen, to the rest of society at the end of the day. In any setting, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that this organic assimilation will always happen. It doesn't mean, we don't necessarily ostracize the minority culture, and it's a better way for integration at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's first clash with government side as a whole, because they told us that we must control the pace of evolution of languages, ladies and gentlemen, by having these governing bodies at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We don't necessarily want this type of dictation coming from an international or national body in terms of the pace of which these types of languages and cultures must evolve to. Because we think that when you dictate the assimilation of cultures, it's something that's forced to the major language at the day. We don't think that forcing assimilation is necessarily the best way to go, because we don't think a top-down approach has always worked, ladies and gentlemen, or has actually never worked if you want to take a look at assimilation of minor cultures to major cultures. Why? Because at best, ladies and gentlemen, what you create is a tokenistic acceptance, ladies and gentlemen, of the minor culture with the major culture at that day. At worst, what you do is when you dictate the pace of assimilation, is you aggravate the indifference of the major culture towards the minor culture, ladies and gentlemen, and they might be less accommodating towards the pace of the accommodation of the minor culture at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we think that it's fundamentally flawed for government to tell us that we must dictate the pace because it's better for education, ladies and gentlemen, or you create more sensitive people at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Because we don't think that necessarily happens, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, we think that you create more insensitivity towards the major culture when you force them to take in wholesale the minor culture when they're not ready to do so yet, ladies and gentlemen. Listen now, what did the opening government say? They told us, ladies and gentlemen, that you know what? It's the state's interest necessarily to make a homogenized ideal at the end of the day. That's why we say, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the state or the government that should dictate the pace of assimilation when it comes to minor cultures, because they already have a predisposition on what they want to create, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to majority vis-a-vis the minority, ladies and gentlemen. You don't allow for the fluidity and the organic assimilation of these minorities at the day, and you don't highlight the contribution towards society and a paradigm like government side, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we don't think it's necessary for you to dictate the pace, because you do more harm than good. What will prove to you coming from closing opposition is a bottom-up approach in terms of assimilation will always be better than a dictation and a top-down approach that government side wants in today's debate. But before I go on, yes?
At worst case scenario, your assimilation will never happen because there's no incentive, especially since these languages are self-serving. Wait, I'm not done. But at best case scenario, if the assimilation really does happen, how is that different from us providing direction anyway?
I already told you the difference, because when you dictate something, you don't necessarily create a full assimilation, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you later in my argumentation Why there's a natural incentive for things to be assimilated? Because let's take a look at minor cultures, ladies and gentlemen. Because we don't think that the only thing that they contribute in society is necessarily their language. We think that there's also a cultural contribution coming from these minorities at the end. And people or majority doesn't adapt languages just because necessarily they want to use Cebuano as well, or necessarily Mindanao language as well, ladies and gentlemen. We think that there are certain things that a minority language, especially in terms of surrounding and proximity, that the major language cannot necessarily identify with at that day. For example, in the United States, you don't have an English word for igloo or teepee, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that was accommodated by the major language because it was only through these igloo words and teepee words that you could describe, ladies and gentlemen, the surrounding of the rest of majority, ladies and gentlemen. This means that even the major language has some lapses, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of describing their surroundings or describing their identity as a culture, ladies and gentlemen. But secondly, we think that majority culture is not necessarily close-minded. There will always be a natural accommodation of the minority culture because they know, or majority cultures know, that diversity will enrich their culture even further, ladies and gentlemen. And when they consume these minority languages, ladies and gentlemen, they contribute to the enrichment of majority culture as well. Especially, ladies and gentlemen, if you talk about minor cultures that have substantially contributed to society in terms of cultural proliferation, like the Chinese in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, or the New Zealanders, ladies and gentlemen, in Australia. We think that this is a better way of assimilation. Why? Because only through this bottom-up approach do you necessarily highlight the contributions of these minor cultures, ladies and gentlemen, without having a governing body to necessarily dictate what should be assimilated and what shouldn't be assimilated in the major language at the day. In our paradigm, ladies and gentlemen, you preserve the identity of the minor languages even better because you highlight them to the rest of the majority, ladies and gentlemen, and you show the majority this is what the minor language or the minor culture has contributed to our major culture, ladies and gentlemen. We think that that's a better way for accommodation and integration of these minor cultures towards the major culture by showing the major culture necessarily what these minor languages has contributed to society and why they should be assimilated in the pace and prioritization that society wants, ladies and gentlemen. So what have I talked to you about in our extension? I told you that pace doesn't need to be dictated by any governing body because at most, what you create is a tokenistic acceptance of the minor culture, ladies and gentlemen. A bottom-up approach will always be better because through a bottom-up approach, it's where you highlight necessarily the contributions of the minority and you allow majority to have an organic acceptance of those minor cultures, ladies and gentlemen. That's why FAU will move on to quarters.